The metallic taste of panic flooded my mouth as I watched our family SUV pull away from the Shell station. My 7-year-old daughter's face pressed against the gas station window. The fluorescent lights inside cast harsh shadows across her purple butterfly dress, the one she'd chosen specifically for her first big family road trip. My hands shook as I fumbled for my phone, the screen showing 12% battery and no signal. The teenage cashier inside was staring at us both through the smudged glass, his expression shifting from confusion to alarm. In the parking lot, an elderly couple loading groceries had frozen mid-motion, watching this impossible scene unfold. A mother and daughter abandoned at a gas station 340 miles from home, while a golden doodle rode away in comfort. My name is Melanie. I'm 38, and I teach middle schoolers that art isn't about perfection. It's about truth. This is the story of how I learned to paint with fire. The morning had started like every family road trip for the past 23 years. Same route to Grandpa Eugene's lake house in Minnesota. Same careful packing lists from my mother, Joyce, who planned family gatherings like military operations. Same false hope that maybe this time would be different. But as I stood in that parking lot watching my mother's silver SUV disappear down Highway 94, I realized some traditions are meant to be burned to the ground. 3 hours earlier, we'd been loading Nathan's new Suburban in Joyce's driveway, my brother-in-law's year-end bonus vehicle, leather seats that cost more than my monthly mortgage, entertainment system worth more than my daughter's entire college fund, 8 seats for 8 people, he'd bragged at Easter dinner, perfect for the whole family. Except the family had grown by 2 when my Uncle Rick and his 22-year-old girlfriend, Ashley, materialized at the Rockford rest stop. They needed a ride because Rick's car had been broken for 3 years while he invested in cryptocurrency and golf clubs. Slight change of plans, Nathan had announced, his car salesman's smile never wavering. 10 people, 8 seats, and Princess, my sister Francine's $3,000 golden doodle, who apparently suffered from anxiety attacks that required a specialized car harness and organic treats. The math was brutal. My daughter Hazel, who'd spent weeks excited about this trip, who'd packed her butterfly identification book and practiced car games with me, who'd grown 3 inches since Christmas and finally didn't need a car seat. She was the obvious choice to sacrifice. It's just logistics, Nathan had said, his hand already on Francine's shoulder, guiding her toward the car. We'll call Dennis when we get signal. He'll turn around and pick them up. Dennis, my husband, was 2 hours ahead of us, his phone switched off for his planned audiobook listening session, something they all knew. His truck was packed with lumber and power tools for the dock renovation he'd been planning for months. No room, no proper seats, no safety. The attendant will watch her, Joyce had declared, her voice carrying that familiar tone that meant the discussion was over. Stop being so dramatic, Melanie. She's 7, not 3. I'd wrapped my arms around Hazel and planted my feet on the oil-stained concrete, but Nathan's car salesman hands were firm on my shoulders, physically guiding me toward the vehicle, while Francine distracted my daughter with $1 for the vending machine. Just 10 minutes, sweetie, Francine had cooed, bending to Hazel's level. Get yourself a treat and wait inside where it's cool. The last thing I saw as they pulled away was Hazel's purple backpack on the ground where she'd dropped it, and her small face pressed against the window, trying to understand why Princess deserved her seat. They drove exactly 3 minutes before stopping at the McDonald's just ahead, where Nathan announced he was dumping me on the roadside. Better cell reception here, Nathan had said, like he was doing me a favor. Problem solved. That's when the outburst started. Mine. Loud enough that an elderly couple eating breakfast pressed their faces to the window, horrified, as I pounded on the Suburban's glass while my family drove away. 12% battery, no signal, $68 for an Uber to go 3 miles back to my abandoned daughter. Maria, the driver, took one look at my face and drove like she was racing death itself. Those 12 minutes in her backseat lasted forever. Every second was a slideshow of horrors. What if someone took her? What if she tried to walk somewhere? What if she thought I'd abandoned her too? I found Hazel in the corner booth of the gas station's tiny food area, coloring the same butterfly over and over, tears streaming steadily down her face. Tyler, the teenage attendant, looked ready to collapse with relief. "Ma'am, I was about to call the police. She said her family was coming back, but it's been almost an hour. She won't eat anything, won't talk. Mommy, Hazel whispered when I gathered her into my arms. Princess needed my seat. Grandma Joyce said I was being selfish. Did I do something bad? No, baby. You did nothing wrong. Nothing at all. The drive home gave me 5 hours to make 17 phone calls. My cousin Sandra, who had been our family lawyer since helping with Dennis's father's estate 3 years ago. My friend from college, who worked at Child Protective Services. The principal at my school, who'd survived something similar with her ex-husband's family. Each call strengthened my resolve. Each person I told reacted with the same shock and rage. This wasn't getting swept under the rug. Not anymore. Dennis finally called when he reached the lake house at 4 p.m., his audiobook finished and phone back on, confused to find chaos instead of celebration. Where are you? Your mom's saying you abandoned Hazel and took off. She's telling everyone you had some kind of breakdown. Check the Find My iPhone I set up on Hazel's iPad, I told him calmly. Screenshot everything showing our location timeline, then pack your things and come home. Mel, what's going on? They left our daughter at a Shell station in Wisconsin to make room for Francine's dog. Joyce is already spinning the story. You need to decide right now, Dennis. Them or us. 5 seconds of silence. I counted them. I'm packing now. I'll be home by morning. Those 5 days of preparation felt like war planning. The next morning, Dennis's truck pulled into our driveway, loaded with his tools and a determination I'd never seen before. He returned with 3 hours of audio recordings documenting my family's revised history, captured on his phone while packing to leave the lake house. In their version, I'd thrown a tantrum about seating arrangements and dramatically abandoned Hazel to manipulate everyone. They'd even posted Facebook photos from the lake, Princess featured prominently with captions about family time with those who matter. Sandra listened to everything with growing fury. This is abandonment, Melanie, clear cut. The gas station has cameras. We have Uber receipts, car rental receipts, witness statements. 3 people saw you in distress in that McDonald's parking lot while they drove away. Tuesday afternoon, I was teaching perspective in art when my phone rang. Joyce's voice through the speaker was almost unrecognizable. Melanie, what have you done? There are police at my door, real police officers with badges and a warrant. I continued sketching horizons on the whiteboard, my students absorbed in their work. I have no idea what you're talking about, Mom. They're saying something about abandonment charges, child endangerment. They want us to come to the station, all of us, even Nathan. In the background, Francine was crying out. This is insane. It was just logistics. We were coming back. Mom, I said quietly, stepping into the hallway, you left my 7-year-old daughter alone at a gas station in Wisconsin. The surveillance footage is quite clear. Tyler, the attendant, gave a detailed statement. 3 witnesses saw you drive away while I was calling for you to stop. You were there. You agreed to the arrangement. I was forced into your vehicle while trying to protect my child. Nathan physically moved me. That's on camera, too. Multiple angles. Roger's voice came through, weaker, broken. Melanie, we're family. You don't do this to family. Family doesn't abandon 7-year-olds to make room for dogs, Dad. It was a misunderstanding, Joyce pleaded. We'll say it was miscommunication. Drop the charges and we'll work this out. We'll apologize. Like you worked out Christmas last year when Hazel's presents were accidentally left at home, but Princess got a custom collar with real diamonds. Or her birthday when you forgot to come, but made it to Colton's game the same day. Francine grabbed the phone, her real estate composure completely gone. You spiteful person, you're ruining everything over one mistake. This will destroy Nathan's business. One mistake? I laughed, and it felt good. Francine, I have 3 years of documented incidents. Every family gathering where Hazel was excluded, every birthday forgotten, every achievement ignored while Colton got standing ovations for participation trophies. My lawyer says it establishes a pattern. Your lawyer? Nathan's voice trying to sound threatening but wavering. You think you can afford to fight us? I'll bury you in legal fees. Actually, Nathan, Remember that rental car I got in Wisconsin? On the way back, we stopped at Dennis's mother's house in Indianapolis. Patricia lives there. We'd only visited once before, because Joyce always found excuses to avoid her. Turns out, Grandma Patricia has been waiting for a reason to update her will. She was very interested to hear how her great-granddaughter was treated. Silence fell like a hammer. Did you know she owns 40% of that pharmaceutical company her late husband founded? She's been looking for a worthy cause. Protecting Hazel became that cause. Her legal team is handling everything pro bono. You can't do this, Joyce whispered. I already did. Oh, and Joyce, you should delete that group chat called Family Minus the Drama Queen before your court date. During the chaos at the lake house, Francine left her phone unlocked on the counter when she went to comfort Princess, and Dennis screenshot those messages where you all discussed leaving us behind before we even got in the car. Where Francine suggested Princess needed my seat, where you said I needed to learn my place. My lawyer particularly enjoyed those. The police officer's voice was clear in the background. Ma'am, we need you to come with us now. An hour later, Roger called alone, his voice quiet and strange. Mel, I need to tell you something. I've been documenting things too, recording family gatherings on my phone for the past 2 years, documenting Joyce's treatment of Hazel. I never knew how to stop it. But Hazel at that gas station. I keep seeing her face in the window. I can't sleep. I keep seeing my granddaughter watching us drive away. Why are you telling me this, Dad? Because tomorrow I'm going to my own lawyer, and then I'm driving to Indianapolis to meet Patricia. Hazel deserves better. You deserved better. Maybe it's too late for us, but not for her. I should have stood up to Joyce 40 years ago. I'm standing up now. 6 months later, Hazel and I sat in our converted garage art studio, the one Patricia had helped us create. The walls were covered with Hazel's butterfly paintings, each one dated and framed properly. Dennis had taken a remote position, preparing for our move closer to his mother, the grandmother who'd welcomed us with tears and fury, who'd immediately set up a college fund and told Hazel she was precious. The restraining order was permanent. The charges resulted in misdemeanor convictions. Nathan and Joyce each received 200 hours of community service and were ordered to attend parenting classes. But the real punishment was social. Nathan's dealership couldn't survive the local newspaper story. Local business owner charged with child abandonment. Chose dog over niece. Turns out people buying family cars care about how you treat actual families. Joyce and Francine completed 200 hours of community service at a children's shelter, watching how real families treated children, how mothers fought for kids who weren't even theirs, how love was supposed to look. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Roger lived alone in his small downtown apartment. He came for supervised visits every Sunday, teaching Hazel origami, something he'd hidden as a hobby for 40 years because Joyce thought it was childish. Butterflies were always my favorite too, he told her that first visit, folding perfect purple paper wings. She hugged him like he was brand new. Their relationship grew slowly, carefully, like something fragile learning to trust sunlight. He never made excuses, never minimized what happened. I failed you both, he said simply. I'm trying to do better. And he was. Every Sunday he showed up. Every butterfly she drew got his full attention. Every story she told mattered. Francine sent one message before the no-contact order went into effect. Princess passed away last month. Anxiety attack. Hope you're satisfied. I looked at Hazel painting monarchs on a canvas bigger than she was, her purple dress splattered with orange and black paint. I'm teaching my daughter that she matters more than anyone's comfort. So yes, I'm satisfied. Dennis found my response perfect. You know what the truth about family is? He said that night, watching Hazel show Patricia her newest painting over video call. It's not about blood making you obligated to accept mistreatment. He was right. Real love doesn't keep score. It doesn't make children compete with dogs for car seats. It doesn't leave 7-year-olds at gas stations. It doesn't document hurt for years without speaking up until it's almost too late. That gas station wasn't where they left my daughter. It was where they lost her, and where I found my strength. Where I learned that being dramatic isn't refusing to accept mistreatment. Being dramatic is expecting a child to understand why a dog matters more than she does. Hazel looked up from her painting, purple paint on her nose. the same color as that backpack from 6 months ago. Mommy, is Grandpa Roger coming tomorrow? Yes, baby. Good. I want to show him how butterflies aren't fragile. They fly thousands of miles. They migrate and survive storms. They're actually really strong. She was right. We'd flown far from that gas station, transformed from the family that stayed quiet to the family that stood up. Some bridges are meant to burn. They light the way to better places. Patricia calls every day. Roger visits every week. Dennis builds furniture that will last generations. And Hazel paints butterflies and knows she matters. Some families are born. Others are built from the ashes of the ones that failed you. We're building something beautiful. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear that standing up for yourself isn't dramatic. It's necessary. Leave a comment about what you would have done in this situation, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about family, strength, and finding your voice when it matters most. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles. Zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.